Hi guys, Alec Peirce, Scuba Tech Tips, and here I am once again quickly discussing a question. One of my viewers asked me, and I'm sorry I don't remember your name, but the question was very simple. The fellow said that I was diving with my regulator, which is an adjustable, you know what I mean by adjustable, it has the adjustable breathing effort. We had a video about this, Kevin. Maybe you can put the tagline on that, about what this adjustable breathing is all about. Good, bad, or indifferent. We did a video. Anyway, this diver said, so I was diving, and when I got out of the water, the dive master told me that I should turn this knob all the way out to the easiest breathing possible between dives, and certainly if I'm storing it for any length of time. Is that true, Alec? Sure. It's a good idea. But I think it's more important that perhaps you know why. I'm assuming your dive master didn't tell you why. If he had told you why, then you wouldn't be asking me. So let me explain to you and to all you guys out there why that's a good idea. And to understand why that's a good idea, you really have to understand the internal mechanism, how this thing works. Okay? And then I'll explain the why it's a good idea to turn it out. And maybe I have an alternative as well. Okay? Because if you turn it all the way out between dives, then you have to adjust it before you go too much to it. You have to adjust it every time. It's nice to leave it where it is if it's working well for you. But let me explain why. Now, in order to do that, we need to understand what's happening in there. And let's do that right here. I have a photograph here. I don't know, Kevin, if you can zoom or if this will work the way it is. But let me just quickly show you. And this is supposed to be a representation of part of the second stage. The only part that we really need to talk about. And you already know a lot of this from my previous videos, but this represents the air line coming from the first stage. So this is our intermediate air pressure, it's called air, at 150 psi, coming into the second stage. This is the body here of the second stage. Air from the first stage coming in at 150 psi. And it goes into a fitting right at the edge of the body, and it goes into a tube, and that tube ends right here. That tube actually has sharp edge on it. It's almost a knife edge on it. And then and that's all one piece. This is all one solid piece. Next, there is a rubber seat, or what's called the soft seat. This is a hard seat because it's made of stainless steel. This little piece right here, the little black thing, I made it thick and black so it looks like rubber, because it is. So it's made of rubber usually, and it's called the soft seat. And that soft seat is mounted on the end of a shaft with a spring on it. And that spring puts pressure on it, and that spring pushes the soft seat against that sharp edge of the hard seat, and that's what stops the air from coming into the second stage until you take a breath. When you take a breath, the lever goes down, pulls the soft seat back, and you get air. Okay? It would look like this. Same diagram exactly, right? Air coming in, fitting, hard seat with sharp edge on it, and then the soft seat, but at this particular moment you're taking a breath. So the soft seat has been pulled back, so now there's a gap in here so the air can come through into the second stage body and into your mouth. Okay, so what is the value of reducing the pressure? Well, I have taken the liberty of sticking on here a knob, which represents the adjusting knob, and a shaft on here, because this knob and adjusting shaft works by exerting pressure on that spring. So you can increase or decrease the pressure on the spring, right? If your regulator is free-flowing, you can turn the knob a little bit, increase the pressure, it pushes that soft seat harder against the metal seat, the hard seat, and stops the air. Stops your free flow. If you want to breathe a bit easier, more easily, then you would unscrew counterclockwise the knob. That takes the shaft back, takes pressure off of the spring. So now the air coming through here is just pushing very lightly against the soft seat. That makes it easier to breathe. So that's the function of this. So what's this about turning it back between dives? Well, it's really very simple. This is a very sharp-edged tube. That's stainless steel, hard seat. It has sharp edges on it. And this is the soft seat, neoprene soft seat. Now think about it. If that soft seat is being pushed hard against this sharp-edged hard seat all the time, that soft seat is going to get a ring, a ridge, not a ridge, a groove in it, isn't it, over a period of time. And eventually, it'll ruin that soft seat and has to be replaced. That's not a big deal. That soft seat costs about $1.50, but you got to take it apart and everything else. So the point to taking the pressure off of the soft seat is simply to preserve the soft seat, to take the pressure off of it so it's not pushed against the hard seat and getting a permanent groove. In other words, between dives it sits like this. The soft seat is not pushed against the hard seat. Now there's 2 or 3 ways you can do that. By turning this adjusting knob out as much as possible, you can reduce the pressure on the spring, and so you reduce the pressure on the soft seat pushing against the hard seat. That'll help, but it doesn't completely eliminate it. It just reduces it. So what's the big deal? Well, there are ways to reduce that pressure on the soft seat other than undoing the knob. Some regulators actually had a system for doing it. The regulator I'm holding, a modern regulator, a brand spanking new Scuba Pro G260, has a seat saver. That's what they call it, a seat saver. Seat saver. How does it work? I don't see anything. Oh, watch this. Come a little closer, Kevin. There's a little secret here. Yeah. You'll have to check, you guys, if you have Scuba Pro, and see. You see the push button right there? And when it's pushed in a little bit, it takes that seat off. So the seat lasts a long time. Watch this. Push in a little bit and turn. Are you able to see, Kevin, that is now depressed? See the little, watch, I'll take it back. Pops out. You see that? Push it down a little bit. Look at that. Seat saver. There you go. Now when that seat's pushed in, right? When that seat's pushed in, this is pulled back. Doesn't touch the hard seat at all. No contact. No contact, no groove. Exactly. So that's what they used to have several years ago. But Dacor had a similar, but Sherwood had an even simpler one. And I don't have one here, unfortunately, but in the purge button, they had a little slide, a little piece that slid, and you push the purge button in, and then you slid that into place, and once again, you held that purge button in, and it was holding the purge button in, again, the soft seat was not touching the hard seat. No contact, no groove. So the whole idea between those little devices and similarly what your dive master told you to do is simply to preserve that soft seat, make it last a little longer, less likelihood of a free flow when you turn the regulator on, and so on. So now you understand what the reason was for that. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with taking something like a popsicle stick, or a piece of candy cane, and push this in, and then slide it in there to hold it depressed, hold the purge button depressed. Does exactly the same thing without having to change the adjustments. Anyway, that's up to you. There's the reason, and I hope that was interesting for you. Alec, Peirce, Scuba Tech Tips. See you again soon.